There is so much joy in this room. I wish I could bottle it up and sprinkle it out during the year. Doesn't it feel great?
Yeah.
It just feels really, really good. So the Beacon Award was created by students 12 years ago to honor an outstanding instructor. And it's been going on for 12 years now. And the committee is a joy because it's not an evaluation. We don't look at negative things. Everything that we read is so powerfully positive that we have a great time, just an outstanding time. And then we have to select one instructor who really stands out. And it wasn't difficult this year at all. So the board is composed of members and board members, and what else do I have to say about it? And then we read nominations from all of the students during the course of the year. So I wanted to mention the members of the committee. Juliet Chaparral, who last year wasn't able to attend the final meeting, but she was running through an airport and did a business call to Lighthouse and voted aye for last year's winner. So I mean that's dedication. Corey Rosen is part of the committee. Annette Taylor. Christopher Saravelli. Thank you, Chris. Richard Devlin, who's president of the board. Marvin Guyman, Roger Wheeling, and myself. And we survived traffic at the end of the day to attend meetings. We survived that run through the airport. We survived a pregnancy this year, so I think we're doing pretty well. I want to give a shout out to Jenna Colhart. She's been able to provide us some details that we haven't had in the past, like the instructor's tenure at Lighthouse, their workload during the course of the year, and their involvement in the community. And I think that really added to our pile of information that we had about students and made our selection easy. So Annette Taylor took many classes with our winner. It's joy. Annette to say a few words about her involvement with her and to read some of her words. Thanks.
Happy December, everyone. What a pleasure, joy. I'm thrilled and so deeply honored to celebrate you tonight, and I'm sure the sentiment shared by absolutely every single one of you in this room. Everyone, what struck me first about Joy was her graciousness. Imagine this scene. Book Bar on Tennyson, 2016. Jubilant people, many from Lighthouse, filling the bookstore for the launch of Joy's first poetry collection, Tongues of Men and Angels. Here. At the podium, Joy began by crediting her poetry teachers, David Rothman, Mike Henry, John Graham, many others, and then before reading her own poems, she read one by a poet who inspired her. This book launch was my first real exposure to Joy. Her verse craft, her humanity, her whimsy, warmth, and wisdom completely captivated me. A poet with titles like German chocolate tetrameter taste test. And lines like, slide these poems into sassy red slingbacks and sing, damn girls, come on now, even these couplets got legs. Well, I'm in. Joy has so much light she shares with her students and her friends. She's a magnet, a life force, and once you've met her, you're stuck all over her forever, as many of you know. After talking to Joy that evening, I proceeded to take class after class from her. First, a survey and reflections on poetry and poets' cultural perspectives using Bill Moyer's book, The Language of Life, as a guide. Then a deeply bonding class with many Lighthouse poets. That's one of them here. Kirsten, many people. Exploring Naomi Shihab Nye's poetry, including Kindness, which I will never forget that poem. Next, Joy's Art of Slow Writing class. Everyone, here's the books here. I brought some of the books she taught. The Art of Slow Writing. Really everyone, the most validating class ever for all of us struggling and taking years and years to write our books, right? It was fabulous. And most recently, Joy's Writing and Personal Transformation class, during which she brought together her experience both as a therapist, and writing craft instructor to teach us that using sensory detail lends not only to the best writing, but also to the best emotional healing. It's really cool. One of my favorite exercises was word salad, where Joy had this big bowl, and she had us pull from that handful of words from a poem that she'd cut up into little scraps of paper. And she asked us to write a poem from them, forcing us to focus on the music and the sound of the words, not on their meaning. Brilliant. It's the whole point, right? Magic happens in Joy's classes. I'd like to read you words from one of her students, Ona Marai, who wrote this in her nomination of Joy for a Beacon Award. Ona took Joy's class that's called Spark and Respark. And today is Ona's birthday, or she would be here reading these words herself, but she passes along her great celebration. So, quote from Ona. Joy Sawyer embodies the ideals of the Beacon Award for Teaching Excellence. Her impact on my writing this year is immeasurable. My first book came out in July 2017, but it was written before my major brain surgery in January 2018. I had been unable to write after that is, until I took the course with Joy.
Wow.
Not only did taking Spark and Respark give me back the experience of writing, but it gave me back the feeling that I have something to give and am able to give it back as a writer to a writing community, exactly as I am at this very moment. Joy was able to use exercises in her vast background in writing craft, art, and even handwriting therapy to help me write in this very precious now. That impact could not be more memorable. Joy draws out a variety of students, from absolute beginners to published authors, into their expressions of thought. And she is thoughtful, creative herself, and doggone fun to work with. Here, here. Woo! So Ona, that was the end of the quote. Ona told me today, we had a chat on the phone, that she has now published a poem that she wrote in Joy's class. That's entitled Granddaughter of Stonewall. I'll So proud to hear that. Also relevant to the Beacon Award, Joy's contribution to Lighthouse is staggering. She's been an instructor since 2009, and in just the last 2 years, which is as far back as the easily accessible database went, she has taught 50 classes in 2 years. Beyond that, she also gives her heart, and I know you all know this, she gives her heart to the community engagement. She teaches at all 3 hard time locations. And the Writing to Be Free program. And I know many Hard Times writers are here, so welcome. I'm so glad that you came. After an event called Voices from the Edge that was March 2018, when writings by some of Joy's community students were read, she had the pieces bound into a handmade book which she gave to the students, including those incarcerated, along with her newly published poetry collection, Lifeguard. Find that one on the Another over and above contribution Joy made was to offer to write a poem as an auction item at the Lighthouse fundraiser called Pony Up in 2016. I was the lucky winner. Yay. And Joy wrote a poem called Bright Star, a Nod to Keats, to celebrate the life of my father-in-law, Mort Jacobs, who had been a career English professor at Lewis and Clark, loved poetry, and had developed Parkinson's disease. His favorite poem was Dante's Inferno, which is in terza rima form. And Joy wrote the poem for him in that form.
Thanks to Rothman.
It was truly a highlight of the last year of Mort's life. I'm forever grateful. Joy. To close, I want to spill the beans about Joy's childhood, which she shared with the audience at a Mortified event last year, I don't know if you folks know this, where people read embarrassing passages from their childhood diary. It's not going to be too embarrassing. We loved it. She grew up in small town Colby, Kansas, but the closest orthodontist was in Denver, 3.5 hours away. So she visited Denver often. Thank heavens for crooked teeth. Here you are, right? At age 12, she put together a retrospective collection of her poems. Grouped, as she jokes now, into profound categories, revealing her brooding depth. Part 1, a growing awareness. Part 2, sensitivity. Part 3, encounter with the world. And Part 4, wait for it, the truth. I love you, George. Sharing on the screen an awkward photo of herself in junior high, she mused about what might have happened if her beloved Scotty had seen her back then. And she read the line from her diary, "It is better to be educated than to be popular." Well, Joy, look where you are now.
Definitely both.
So the last thing I'll say is Joy was actually a lifeguard as one of her many jobs along the way. And Joy, now you are our lifeguard. A teacher and friend we are all so fortunate to have in our lives. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.